Did you know some people believe that Nick Ritchie should be in the starting lineup day one? YouTube, Bees Nation, the boys, the gals, everybody out there. This is episode 2. And I'm going to talk to you today about exactly what our lineup is going to be day one against the Devils. A lot of predictions out there. They're wrong. I'm right. Guarantee it. Don't at me. Okay, so right away, you're going to see something that a lot of people aren't putting up for some reason, which is having Bjork on the first line. We've got Marshy and Bergie, which are obvious options. Marshy looks like he's on pace to come back. Really excited about that because him and Pasta missing time would be a little rough. Pasta does not look like he's going to make it, unfortunately. That's okay, though. I think we can survive a week or two without him. He looks like he is on pace to be coming back end of January, but any setbacks could really mess everything up, as I've kind of touched on in the last video. Bjork is the obvious answer here. I think we've seen it before, and this is a moment where we're trying one of two things. We want to see if Bjork can really stick in the big leagues. Obviously, fingers crossed, he can. This is his best chance to do it. You've got Bergie and Marshy on your line. You can't ask for a better duo to start with. Again, don't at me. Bjork, on the other hand, might just be trade bait this year. So obviously, we're going to try to raise his value as much as possible. A fast start does not mean we are going to keep the kid. It could mean that we're going to use him to get more help on the left side defense. The second line is actually going to be the only line that stays consistent, I think, throughout the whole season, which is Krejci, DeBrusk, and Kasha. Ondrej Kasha ruffled some feathers, I guess, last year. I don't know. There's a lot of opinions about the guy, but if you actually break down what he did and you actually watch the games, he was all over the place in a good way. He was constantly buzzing around the net. He set up a lot of opportunities, but he could not find the back of the net. I don't think that we're going to see the same Kasha this year that we saw in the bubble. This guy can make plays happen. He is the answer on the right side, finally, for Krejci. He's going to raise Krejci's value, which actually might bite us in the ass because maybe Krejci gets a bigger contract after this year than he deserves. We'll see. But that line, as long as DeBrusk can hit a solid flow, is going to be absolutely brutal this year. DeBrusk has been inconsistent, to say the least. Been a lot of talk about that. Here's the thing. DeBrusk has played 203 games in the NHL. This is his 4th season, and he's 24. When you break down the progress that players make, this is the season that non-elite players get consistent, and they bump their game up another level. No one's arguing that DeBrusk is going to be a 50 goals a year kind of guy. He's not an elite guy, but what he is a really solid top 6 winger, and he will be that. And this is the year we're really going to see it. Unfortunately, because it's a shortened season, it's going to be a little weird and it's going to be harder to kind of tell what we have in him. But I expect actually a lot more consistency from him, especially with the back-to-backs, because he's got young legs and he's going to be the guy flying up and down the ice. That second line is our answer for a lot of problems that we're going to have this year when it comes to the defensive end. I think their possession numbers are going to be awesome, and I think they're actually going to start burying the puck a lot more. Kasha's going to set up a lot of opportunities. DeBrusk is going to finish. Krejci's going to do his usual thing, being in the mix there. The third line is actually where things get a little more dicey as opposed to what I predicted versus what a lot of other people have predicted. I've got Coyle in the middle. Obviously, Coyle's my boy. I had a recent falling out with him, but it's okay. We recovered. We're now friends again. We're locked in. Craig Smith, the new addition, he's going to go on the right side. Possession-wise, this guy is an analytics darling. He is going to bust ass, and he is going to offer a lot to that line to make sure that when Coyle is cycling with the puck and holding on to that thing, Smith is going to be in the right spot at the right time constantly. Now, the left side is where I differ a lot. A lot of people have Nick Ritchie here. No. Nick Ritchie shouldn't be on the team. He shouldn't be. Okay, look. All right. So there's a lot of talk about how, well, Nick Ritchie got off to a rough start, slower legs, enforcer, adding some grit, some sandpaper. Here's the issue I have with Nick Ritchie. Can't stay out of the box when it's important. Doesn't have the mentality to actually understand what's going on the ice at a certain time. He's always in the wrong spot at the wrong time. And whenever he does add that sandpaper, it's in the weirdest moments. It's in moments where you kind of go, well, that was a little behind the play. That was a little cheap. I do not like that guy. And that's why he's starting the taxi squad. He's not starting the lineup day one. I understand. We traded for him. We had the acquisition last year. Bruce is going to feel pressure to put him in. But if he doesn't show up in shape and ready to go in training camp, I don't think we see him game one. I think we see Jack the Stud Studnicka. This kid is projected to be a top liner in the future if you're loose with your projections. I like him a lot. He's our top prospect right now. He's one of the only few guys that I think will stick in the NHL long term. I think we're in for a nasty rebuild, but I'm not the only one saying that. Jackie has a great game as far as knowledge of where to be. And again, he's a guy who can possess. He's only going to get better at that kind of stuff. I believe our third line with Coyle, Smith, and Jack can really, really hang on to the puck and shut down top lines of other teams. I see how this sounds really optimistic and how I'm taking this a step further where I think, oh man, the way I'm explaining every line makes it seem like we're going to be Stanley Cup favorites. We are Stanley Cup favorites. We're like top 5 in everyone's projections to do well. We'll get to our weaknesses, but yeah, sure, we've had problems burying the puck in the past, but this is going to be a better offense than we've seen in a while. It's just going to be a much worse defense. Do I believe we win the cup this year? Have faith, right? But I think at the end of the day, you can look at this roster and go, oh, our forwards aren't really a problem. We have guys, and we're afforded the opportunity to put young people into the lineup when it comes to our forwards. Because we have people like Krejci, Bergie, Coyle, Marshy, these guys that know what they're doing, know how to work with these guys, and will make them better. It's going to be really interesting to see, but our forwards are not actually the problem this year. We are getting to a line where there is a bit of a problem. Carl Lindholm, Sean Kuraly, Chris Wags. Okay, Lindholm and Wags, I think, absolutely deserve to be there. Kuraly does too. There's been a little bit of a disappointment. 2 years ago, that fourth line centered by Kuraly was just so luxurious. We could put them against the number one line and not worry about it. They could shut other teams down. Achari was a beast. Miss him. It's just, this isn't the same line. And Kuraly's not the same player. I'm not exactly sure why. He hasn't seemed to find the same game. He will not start as center. Lindholm's going to do that. Kuraly's going to be a left wing. He's going to move up to the third line during this first game a couple times, working with Coyle. Jackie's probably going to get bumped around. Studnicka's not going to see a ton of ice time, but that's where he's going to start, is on the third line. Wags and Lindholm, I trust them. I like them. This fourth line is a safe pick for me. They're the guys that deserve to be there, even though last year they might not have played up to their capabilities. You will see other people cycled into this line. There's going to be a ton of mix-ups during the season because of all the back-to-backs. Here's where we get to the problem. Our first defensive line, not bad, actually. McAvoy, Grizz. I mean, McAvoy's great. Future Norris Trophy winner. Grizz is solid and deserves first line ice time to see if he can really handle it. I don't think that line stays that way all year. I think Grizz gets bumped down to work with Carlo on the second line because their game works so well together. Carlo, Krug, and Grizz are a comparison. Grizz is nowhere near Krug's level. I don't think he couldn't develop to be that close to that. Maybe not the same, but he could get close to what Krug was. Problem is, once you go past Grizz on that defensive depth chart, Jacob Zaboral is actually the next guy. And I have a lot of friends who are saying that Zaboral won't even start. I've got a lot of friends saying that he should be on the third line at best. But Carlo's a really great defensive defenseman. He's going to cover for some mistakes that some of the younger guys would make. So if Zaboral or Vox start here, which it will be Zaboral, you're going to see it on the second line because Carlo's going to cover for them when they have those mental lapses as a new young player. It's time for both Zaboral and Vox to really figure out if they're going to be NHL players or not. I hear a lot of awesome things from camp about Zaboral. I hear Vak is improving, Vakanainen, he's improving, but I don't hear about him being ready, unfortunately. I hear a lot of talk about how he better be ready, which isn't a vote of confidence by any means. So I worry about that. Third line, you got John Moore and Connor Clifton. That's kind of a simple one. I say Cliffy gets to start over Lauzon, but that could really go either way. That third line's dog shit. McAvoy's going to see 25 plus minutes a game. Grizz as well is going to be close-ish to that, probably in the 22, 23. Carlo in the 20 minutes. That third line's not going to see a ton of time. All right, guys, that's it. That's your 2021 opening night roster. I guarantee it. I know I didn't touch on goalies a lot. You saw it in the graphic. I don't think I need to explain it too, because our starter and Halak's going to see a bunch of time. That's a pretty obvious one. Look out for Darth Vladar, that poor kid. But we're gonna see him this year. But that's it for my take on what we're gonna have opening night. It's gonna be a big fat dub. Also guarantee that. If you like the video, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, guys, go Bees.